Hello everyone, my name is Dante Jean. I'm a junior at the University of Bridgeport studying mass communications with a concentration in sports journalism. Today, I've interviewed a UB alumni named Henry Chisholm. He is a multimedia journalist, but I don't want to spoil the rest of the video. Let's watch and see. So first, tell me about yourself. Like, how did you get into this business?
Well, I always liked sports. I started liking sports when I was like 9. My father was a professional basketball player in Costa Rica, and so I was always around it. And I got into it when I was like 8 or 9 years old to kind of like get closer to him, have a better relationship with him. So just like watch games and everything. And I just always liked the broadcast aspect of it, the journalism aspect of it. I like stories and all that. So, by high school, you kind of figure out like if the basketball dreams, like hoop dreams, were like realistic or not, and they weren't for me. So when I came here, it was just about like trying to find my way into journalism. I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to do print or broadcast. My goal was always broadcast, but I didn't know if that was a realistic goal either. So I tried everything. Like I was telling you earlier, I did radio at WPKN. Tried to start my own radio show. Try to do TV, public access. So I was borrowing Professor Susan Katz's cameras. Yeah. She had some cameras she let me use, and I would drive up to Circuit City when there was a Circuit City in the Trumbull Mall and buy like mini DV tapes and record my radio show and then try to make it like a TV show. I'd run around campus like interviewing people and trying to make like commercials to put in it. And then obviously like I wrote for the Scribe and all that. So just worked really hard, and I don't know if she's here anymore. Her name was Sharon Skeeter. She's a journalism professor. She got the editor of the Connecticut Post to come down, and this was 2008. So this is when Barack was running for the first time. Yeah. And it was like a talk about journalism and the media and everything, because obviously like that was the first time a black person had been a Democratic nominee and everything. So he hadn't been elected yet. It was like before that. So we were talking about how the media was covering this election differently than they've covered others, where it's just been white man versus white man. Yeah. And afterwards, I talked to him and I was like, listen, I sent some articles to you guys, just trying to freelance, and none of them were published, and I didn't get a response back. So I was wondering if I could send them to you and you could critique it. And I think he liked that I was being proactive. Yeah. And they offered me a job the next day. So it was just like working weekends, doing page layout and stuff like that. And I just kind of got the ball rolling for everything else.
Okay. Where do you work and how did you get the job?
I work for News 8 in New Haven. I got the job. I've known those guys, my boss and the other guy that works in sports, because it's just 3 of us. Actually, 4 of us if you count the guy that works on the web. I've known them since I was at the New Haven Register. When I was at the Register, obviously it's in New Haven, so we're covering a lot of the same things. So you see these guys out and talk to them. Like I said, I always had aspirations of being a broadcast. I went to the Connecticut School of Broadcasting to learn more about it. They let me use their equipment after I had finished and got my certificate for broadcasting. So I made a demo, sent it to places in New York, Connecticut, Pennsylvania, Maryland, all over to get feedback. And they were one of the places I sent it to. They didn't have anything at the time. They made some personnel changes around the holidays last year, opened up a spot. I checked back in just to say, hey, I'm still looking. If you guys have anything available, let me know. They did. Brought me in, interviewed 3 times. Interviewed with the sports team, the news director, and the photographer, and got the job.
Okay. When you were a kid, did you always want to cover sports, and why?
When I was a kid, I wanted to. I remember like playing NBA Live. I'm dating myself. Playing NBA Live '98 on PlayStation 1, and turning the sound down and doing the commentary myself. You know what I mean? Like, I always liked it. When I was in college, I got more into, like, social issues and stuff like that. So a lot of the things that I did, I would say maybe, like, freshman, sophomore year were more, like, newsy and, social issue type stories and things like that I was interested in. Right. But I've always had a passion for sports.
Okay. why did you choose this career field?
Um, I like telling stories. I like being active. This is an active job, like whether you're in print or whether you're in broadcast. Print not so much anymore, which is sad. You got a lot of people just like kind of like stuck in the office making calls. I feel like this is a business where it's not a 9 to 5. It's a when you start to when you finish, and that's the part that I've always liked about it. I think as you get older, you can't do that anymore, and I'm getting to that point where it's like I do kind of just want like a Monday through Friday 9 to 5, not like working on Christmas, working on Thanksgiving, and all these different types of things, because it could be it could take a lot away from your like personal life as you get older. But I always like that part of it.
Right. Were there any obstacles / challenges when you faced in the beginning when you entered the career?
No, I feel like it's all like being here helped a lot, just because like you go to other schools and I think things are different now, where like the school has like a lot of like resources for you to like work on a demo and everything like that. I think the professors were always great, but just in terms of the funding for the mass communication department, it wasn't always where it needed to be when I was here. But it made me think outside the box. Like it made me say, man, we don't have cameras. We don't have a TV station here.
Right.
I'm gonna start one. Let me see who got a camera. Let me learn how to use it. And I like had to teach myself how to do some of these things, and I had help, But I think coming from that and thinking that way, it helped me when I started working. Because what happens to a lot of people when they finish college is they're so used to everything just kind of being laid out for them that when they get a job and they have to think critically, they don't know how to do it and they struggle.
Right.
So for me, I never had that problem. Like when I graduated from school, it was just like, it doesn't matter what the situation is, I can find my way around it. I can figure it out. So I never really viewed anything as like an obstacle or a challenge. It was just like, it was just work. You know what I mean? Like it was just normal.
Right. Would you suggest this career for anyone that's interested in going to journalism?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's always like things with the job market, the pay. I think if you go into journalism, I think you just be aware. Always be aware of what you're getting yourself into. But I'm a firm believer in like following your dreams and chasing your dreams, and eventually everything comes around. It may not happen when you want it to, but it's gonna happen at some point. But just always be aware of what you're getting yourself into.
Okay. What are the negative aspects of this career for any aspiring journalist?
I would say money. If you go into print, you're not gonna make a lot of money. Job security. I think especially now like with who we got as president, job security is gonna be a problem for everybody.
Right.
But when you talk about journalism, because of the web and because there's not a stable business model for how to make money through online journalism, there's no form of journalism right now that's that offers up job security. And then like I said, just nights and weekends. Like if you work in print, you're probably not gonna get hit with the nights and weekends. It's hard.
Right.
But if you work in sports, I meant news. If you work in news, but if you work in sports, like your life is nights and weekends. Like I work 3 to 11, Tuesday through Saturday. I'm working New Year's Eve. I'm working Christmas Eve. I'm working Thanksgiving. I worked Halloween. I worked all summer. Like that's just
Right.
You have to, like I said, just be aware. Like you're giving that up.
Yeah, like basically almost like your personal life.
For the most part, you got to be creative, and it can be difficult to maintain relationships because the people that you're around have to be accepting of it,
right,
and be able to work with it, and that could become problems. Like I don't. There's a book. It's called "Those Guys Have All the Fun."
Right.
It's about ESPN and how ESPN came to be, and there's a part in it which talks about how like a lot of the people, like a large percentage of people that worked for ESPN, both men and women, ended up getting divorces throughout the course of their time there because the schedule was so inconsistent and wasn't the typical 9 to 5 that their spouses were working, that they were cheating, getting cheated on, not being around enough, and it was just putting a strain on their relationship. So you have to be aware, like, those are some of the things that could happen.
All right. If you don't mind me asking, how much does this kind of job pay?
TV is hard because it's all about market. So Connecticut is a big market. We kind of get grouped in with New York and the other part of Connecticut. the eastern part kind of gets grouped in with Mass. So you're looking at, I'd say like 50 to 60. If you're a meteorologist, you're going to get more because they're on a lot more. Anchors, just like straight news anchors, they get paid more. Photographers don't make that much. People that work the assignment desk don't make that much. Producers and directors don't really make that much. I was an associate producer for News 12, and I was probably pulling in like in the 30s. When I worked at the New Haven Register, I was making 30. In sports, I made 32. At the Post, they never put me on staff, but I was making like in the 20s. So like when you're print, you're looking at, I would say, anywhere between like 27 and maybe 38 at the most. There, yeah. And editors are probably anywhere between like 35 and 45, 44. And then, like I said, TV, it varies by market and it varies by position. So.
How do you improve your chances to succeed in this career?
It's gonna sound really cheesy, but just like working hard. Just work hard, stay ahead of the curve. I think the best thing you could do, my mentality when I was in college was always like, don't be a college student. Like, if I want to be a journalist, I'm a journalist. I'm not a college student that's aspiring to be. I am a journalist. And everything that a journalist does, I'm gonna do it. I would go to basketball games, and I would try to like write an article before the SID posted his game story on the website, because I wanted to teach myself how to deal with deadlines. These are the things that like when you're taking a class, if you got a paper, it's not due until next week because that's when your next class is. If it's a Wednesday, you know what I mean? Like you'll go over the material on Monday, you'll get the assignment on Wednesday, and the assignment is due next Monday. Like that's not how this is. This is like you gotta like I gotta go and shoot something at 3, and I gotta cut that for the 6 o'clock news. And we only have like 4 rooms where you can edit, so I have to knock that out fast because other people need to get in. So it's like I think that's how you got to do it. You talk to professionals, email people in the business, and a lot of times like journalists love to talk about themselves or just love to talk in general. So you're gonna get some good information and just try to simulate that atmosphere. I would say that's the best thing for anybody in college to do is don't graduate from college with the mentality and the work ethic of a college student. Graduate from college with the mentality and the work ethic of whatever it is that you want to be, and see yourself as that before you graduate, because that's the easiest way to make that transition.
What are the positive aspects of this career, and what do you like the most about it?
The positive aspects of it is if you just what you want to do, you get to do what you love. You get to be around games all the time, which is fun. I love sports. I accept the fact that sports are like really inconsequential. And I think that's fun because I've covered hard news and it's boring as hell. So I like the fact that I can go to a game and it's just a game. Like, you know, people aren't going to, like, people might be mad that their team lost or whatever, but it's just a game. So that's the fun part. What was the other part of the question?
What do you like most about it?
Telling stories, being creative. You know, I think that's the cool part when you could, like, put something together that's, like, really creative and finding something that's interesting. Like, I just recently did a story on a New London high school. They let football players and cheerleaders perform in the band at halftime. So you'll see like people in the band like in a cheerleading uniform or in like football pads or whatever. Like things like that are really fun to do. And I did one on how to survive training camp. So I went to every college football team in the state and just like did like a fun thing on like how much water you should drink and if they eat the right food and you know, like what makes a good roommate and things like that. Like, I like doing those types of things. So I would say that's like the best part of it for me.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming out and taking your time to interview. And thank you.